The trade spat between the U.S. and China is officially back on, with China's tariffs on U.S. imports now implemented as of Monday. Are the two sides better prepared this time? Is that why there was no deal reached? We turn to Jeff Moon, president of China Moon Strategies, this morning. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. So why do you think there wasn't any last-minute negotiation or deal reached between Donald Trump and Xi Jinping?
The current U.S.-China trade dispute is just a continuation of the trade war that persisted throughout Trump's first term. The differences between the two countries involved a wide range of issues that can't be solved easily or quickly during a single phone call between the leaders. So Trump threatened throughout his presidential campaign that he would impose new tariffs on China. Everyone has expected the tariff war to resume during his second term, and the failure to find a last-minute off-ramp at this point is actually no surprise. From my perspective, the only surprise is that Trump didn't impose these tariffs earlier, as he had promised during the campaign, and that the tariffs that he did impose were only at the 10% level rather than, say, 60 or more that he threatened many times over during the past year.
So it's a continuation of what we saw 6 and 7 years ago. That's why it's going to be even more complicated. Now, there are reports that Xi was the one not wanting to speak with Trump. Why wouldn't he? I mean, what's on Xi's mind?
We really don't know what's been happening behind the scenes, but the choreography surrounding U.S.-China leadership meetings has always been complicated and testy. Both sides want to uphold national dignity. Neither side wants to appear weak or subservient. So protocol issues such as who's requesting the meeting, where it will be held, what the agenda will be, have always taken a long time to resolve and usually well in advance of the meetings. In this case, Trump announced the new tariffs with no prior notice in the midst of China's annual one-week Chinese New Year holiday, with an effective date just several days later. So the two sides were unable in that context to agree on whether and when they should talk, but there will be a conversation soon because bilateral negotiations can't begin until the top leaders formally agree and approve the process.
Well, we do know that the Chinese tariffs on the U.S. do include a wide range of items and sectors, but some analysts are saying that they will have a minimal impact on the U.S. Are you also on the same page?
China's response to Trump's tariffs include targeted retaliatory tariffs, which are fairly light, symbolic responses to U.S. sanctions unrelated to tariffs, and threats to escalate further. In addition to filing a WTO complaint, China retaliated for Trump's across-the-board 10% tariffs with tariffs on just $14 billion of selected American goods. In addition, though, China announced symbolic retaliation on non-tariff issues. So new export controls further weaponize China's monopoly on critical minerals. A new antitrust investigation against Google looks like retaliation for what's happened with TikTok. And blacklisting various U.S. apparel and biotech companies arguably retaliates for U.S. sanctions affecting Chinese firms in those sectors. So China's message here is that the U.S. can expect further retaliation, not just for tariffs, but also across the full range of bilateral trade disputes.
Well, we are still in the early stages of another trade war between Washington and Beijing. But if Trump and Xi do end up talking on the phone, what kind of deals do you think will make both Trump and Xi content?
I'm pessimistic in the short term that Trump and the Chinese will reach a deal satisfying both sides. China's goal is to preserve its annual trade surplus of hundreds of billions of dollars without changing its anti-competitive state-led practices. The U.S. seeks reforms curbing that anti-competitive impact of China's state-led industrial policies. Those goals are inconsistent and probably not reconcilable. Nevertheless, China has floated proposals to revisit the Phase 1 deal from Trump's first term and to invest in U.S. manufacturing. I don't think either of those ideas will fully address American concerns. So the question for Trump as he begins his second term is whether he can strike a deal that provides not just short-term benefits, say, in the form of purchases, but also addresses the long-term industrial policy issues that are really at the heart of the trade dispute.
Well, it's a relief for now that tariffs on, Canada and Mexico are on hold for about a month, but China's tariffs on U.S. are in effect. How long do you think it'll take to see the tariffs take a toll on South Korea and its economy?
The most obvious visible impact of US-China tensions and tariffs is the friendshoring phenomenon that's causing American firms in China to relocate to Korea and other allied countries. On the downside, however, Trump's tariffs will fuel inflation in the United States, and that could be exported around the world. I think, frankly, more serious than these Chinese tariffs are the new tariffs that were just announced tonight here in the United States on 25% on all steel and aluminum imports into the United States. Korea is responsible for 9% of steel imports to the United States. And in 2018, Korea negotiated a quota in lieu of steel and aluminum tariffs that Trump imposed then. It's not clear whether that quota will be sufficient or whether the new tariffs will be applied in addition to the measures that were agreed to in 2018. So there are a lot of questions for South Korea that need to be resolved.
Sir, thank you so much for connecting with us this morning. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.